let's move on. And now we're moving into our featured review. And for that, we've already talked about it a little bit. We watched the Bikeriders. Well, Todd and I watched the Bikeriders. Adam didn't get a
I'll
chance to
just
watch it yet. I think he said he's planning on going to see it as soon as we're done
yeah.
recording.
So I will
So
exit stage left or check the oven while you guys discuss.
there we go. Sounds good. All right. So Adam is out for that. Todd, this was your like number one most anticipated movie of last fall. It was
Yeah.
your number one pick in our most anticipated draft that we had about a month ago. So you're going to get to start talking about this one. So tell us all about the Bikeriders and what you thought.
Okay. The Bikeriders, yes, my most anticipated of the last 10 months, I guess. Now, still holding strong until this weekend. Directed by Jeff Nichols. And it's the story of a Chicago-based biker gang called the Vandals. And I guess it's a true story, and they were called the Outlaws in real life. And it's told by the wife of one of its most notorious members, and told through like this picture book adaptation thing by some photographer, filmmaker following them around. And the founder of the group is Johnny, played by Tom Hardy. The ruthless younger member is Benny, played by Austin Butler, and his wife is Kathy, the narrator, played by Jodie Corner, who is essentially Karen from Goodfellas. Like it's from the opening frames, it's readily apparent that this is a Scorsese type movie, and like it loves his mob movies. Just set it in biker culture, and it works. The interviews are done by this photographer played by Mike Faist, and interviewing Kathy at some point in the future. And the character actor supporting cast is pretty astonishing. Like perfect for this type of movie. You have Michael Shannon, of course, because it's a Jeff Nichols movie. Norman Reedus had to be in the biker movie. Emery Cohen, Bo Knapp, Boyd Holbrook, and Carl Glusman are those faces that you see a lot, and they're just like, yeah, those people totally fit in this world. What happens with this biker club isn't exactly traditional rise and fall stuff. It's more like rise and then inevitable molding into a gang. And I've never seen Sons of Anarchy, but I imagine it's similar to this, and I could see how something like this could be expanded beyond its like, this is what, 116 minutes. I could see several seasons because there are a lot of characters and a lot of things that they could dive deeper into. And the movie not only wants to be Scorsese, there's also a fair amount of Tarantino in there. There's some Edgar Wright in there. And the movie kind of breezes by. It never really stops long enough to really challenge the audience or anything the way those filmmakers would, because it's just not that deep, but it doesn't really have to be. It's just really entertaining stuff. And it reminded me of some movies that came out like 10 years ago, like Blood Ties, Out of the Furnace, The Place Beyond the Pines in some ways. All have like varying successes and don't really need to do something crazy just to make you enjoy them, because they're just that slickly told. Tom Hardy, I think, is incredible in this. He's channeling Marlon Brando. There's a scene where he's watching The Wild One, and it kind of inspires him to make the club. And he disappears into the role. The closest neighbor to this really is Lawless, which is the Tom Hardy starring like Prohibition era bootlegger movie from like a dozen years ago. And that similarly isn't really focused on Tom Hardy, but he dominates the movie, and it has a pretty heavy subject. Having Comer as the rock of the movie is a smart move, because it makes it different. Her accent is kind of perfect for the Midwest. Austin Butler is the star, though. He is the next big movie star, and he doesn't need the role to even make him that way. He just, like, from the opening shot of him, he's Steve McQueen, he's Brad Pitt, he's James Dean, or he's kind of DiCaprio at the same time. Like it's his performance that really shines brightest in this movie, and it ends up being for me a little bit disappointing, not just because it was my most anticipated one, but the final scenes are rushed. The conclusion is a little iffy. And but it's a blast to watch. It's just pure summer entertainment. It's a 3-star movie. I'm kind of upset that it's not better than that, but I did really have a good time watching it.
All right. I'll echo a lot of what you said, but I'm gonna do it. This is my first 4-star movie of the year. I fell in love with this movie as I was watching it. And like you said, not a whole lot happens. It's a profile, it's a character study. And to have like the Mike Faist and Jodie Comer characters kind of guiding you through the story, it gives you an opportunity to just hear these characters talk about themselves, talk about what they think, what they believe, and you get these little snapshots. And I was thinking about it. There are a lot of these movies that are little snapshots, like through time, that I don't like. It's like, oh, we're going to tell a little bit of a story here. Now we're going to jump a couple years and tell a little bit of story. But this works because of how they frame it and how they tell it. And I felt like I was right with Kathy, and that, like, because Kathy, she starts out and she goes, "What in the world is going on?" And then she just can't help but fall in love with this group of guys. And I was right there with her. I I was completely captivated by everything that was going on. You're right, Tom Hardy. He always disappears into every role, but this is him, right? This is totally 100% Tom Hardy just doing his thing. Um, Austin Butler, like the filmmakers, it's like they made an intentional effort that every shot he was in, they were going to try and make him look like the most beautiful human being on the planet. And it's not that hard to do, but he steals every shot he's in just because, like you said, he is. I kept thinking it's like this is early 90s Brad Pitt playing a James Dean role. Like that's what Austin Butler is in this movie. And he owns it. And he's the mysterious one that everyone is attracted to and everyone like goes toward. The I haven't had been able to stop thinking about this movie since I watched it. And it's weird because it's not really a movie that, like you said, not much happens, but it's just so cool. It, you're right.
Yeah.
It's very Goodfellas, um, but the aesthetic of the movie, the look of the movie, I fell in love with just every part of this, and I mean, it was like one of the best double features I've ever had in polar opposite directions of Thelma and the Bike Riders. Like that, this was Friday night was a good night at the movies. But yeah, I'm going there. It's my first 4-star movie of the year.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jeff Nichols fits this type of thing really well. A lot of his movies look kind of like this, but this one is the first time he actually has had like a big, ambitious, like crime epic. And I mean, yeah, and it works. I think it's a lot of fun. I'm not putting it. I think it feels too much like other movies like Goodfellas for me to anoint it to being on that level because I don't think it works as well as that. But
But
I mean,
it's not as ambitious as that though. It's not trying to do that. Um, and like Goodfellas is telling a very specific story. This is more just profiling the group. I don't know if you could say there's a main character. They're all kind of main characters in some ways.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess if I would say anyone's lead, it might be Comer, just because she has scenes that are outside of being in the group, I guess.
Oh, and
But
she disappears. She disappears into her role in a similar way to how Tom Hardy does. Like she just is like there is no like you think like Jodie Comer, like think like Last Duel, Jodie Comer, right?
hmm.
This is like she's a chameleon just as much as Tom Hardy is.
Well, she reminds me of like Anya Taylor Joy or something like that. Like that would have been a killer role for her, and like it's a similar kind of thing to the wide eyed kind of thing that she has in like Last Night in Soho or something. But she is great. I mean, she's on my list for my favorite best actress performances of the year. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad you liked it that much. I mean, I wish I appreciated it more than I did, but I mean, and maybe it was inevitably just going to be a slight disappointment because of how much I was looking forward to seeing it like forever ago.
Yeah.
But
All right. So now this question will be asked at some point, but so Jodie Comer is lead actress, you'd say, right? What
uh,
about Hardy and Butler?
I would say Hardy's lead, Butler
Hardy's
supporting.
lead, Butler supporting. I think I could go with that. I think I
See,
do.
but you see what I mean about Austin Butler? He doesn't need the role to be this big role for him to come off as a movie star when you need like Glenn Powell needs the movie star role. Like Timothy Chalamet needs the movie star role to be the movie star. Austin Butler just is the star, and I mean, he has that Brad Pitt in him to be able to do that.
A couple weeks ago, we talked about Glenn Powell and Hitman, and how everyone's still trying to figure out who he is, because I think at his core he's just a good-looking character actor, right? I think Glenn Powell's going to be kind of similar to Colin Farrell in that they're going to try and make him like the lead in a bunch of stuff, and then 10, 15 years down the road, he's going to be the character actor that everybody loves in everything. And but you're right, Austin Butler is a star. And he is one of those. We don't have many of those stars anymore. Like, oh, I need to go see the new Tom Cruise movie, right? I need to go see the new Austin Butler movie. We could get there with him, because just him being in the movie instantly makes it interesting.
And he was my favorite part of the second Dune movie too. So
yeah, well, to talk to complete chameleon there, like he's unrecognizable. So I mean, you've got over the last couple of years, you've got him playing Elvis, him playing a bald albino, and him playing the coolest bike rider you've ever seen. So
when he was playing like a pilot or something in that miniseries.
Oh, Masters of the Air, the Air Force Band of Brothers. Yeah.
Yep.
So I still need to watch that. Yeah, so he's all over the place, and he's rocking it no matter how he does it. Todd's giving it 3 stars. I'm giving it 4 stars. It's my number 1 movie of the year so far. It's my only 4-star movie. Yeah, that's where we're at with the Bikeriders. Adam's back now. He listens.
Adam's gonna love the movie too. I think he's gonna fill it in. He's gonna have 3.5 stars. We'll cover the whole spectrum.
There you go.